Hi there, everyone. Welcome to the practice of Lesson 14 from A Course in Miracles workbook for students. And we start by thanking the Holy Spirit for being our inspiration and for presenting Himself through every brother and sister. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for being with us every day, every instant. And the quote for today, for the 14th day, the quote from The Disappearance of the Universe that belongs to this day is this one. It's very short. To teach is to demonstrate. That is the quote. To teach is to demonstrate. And now I'm going to read Lesson 14. Lesson 14. God did not create a meaningless world. The idea for today is, of course, the reason why a meaningless world is impossible. What God did not create does not exist, and everything that does exist exists as He created it. The world you see has nothing to do with reality. It is of your own making, and it does not exist. The exercises for today are to be practiced with eyes closed throughout. The mind-searching period should be short, a minute at most. Do not have more than 3 practice periods with today's idea unless you find them comfortable. If you do, it will be because you really understand what they are for. The idea for today is another step in learning to let go the thoughts that you have written on the world and see the worth of God in their place. The early steps in this exchange, which can be truly called salvation, can be quite difficult and even quite painful. Some of them will lead you directly into fear. You will not be left there. You will go far beyond it. Our direction is toward perfect safety and perfect peace. With eyes closed, think of all the horrors in the world that cross your mind. Name each one as it occurs to you, and then deny its reality. God did not create it, and so it is not real. Say, for example, God did not create that war, and so it is not real. God did not create that airplane crash, and so it is not real. God did not create that disaster, specify, and so it is not real. Suitable subjects for the application of today's idea also include anything you are afraid might happen to you or to anyone about whom you are concerned. In each case, name the disaster quite specifically. Do not use general terms. For example, do not say, God did not create illness, but God did not create cancer, or heart attacks, or whatever may arouse fear in you. This is your personal repertory of horrors at which you are looking. These things are part of the world you see. Some of them are shared illusions, and others are part of your personal hell. It does not matter. What God did not create can only be in your own mind apart from His. Therefore, it has no meaning. In recognition of this fact, conclude the practice periods by repeating today's idea. God did not create a meaningless world. The idea for today can, of course, be applied to anything that disturbs you during the day. Aside from the practice periods, be very specific in applying it. Say, God did not create a meaningless world. He did not create, specify the situation which is disturbing you, and so it is not real. And this is the end of lesson 14. It's a minute period practice, or I don't know. It's 1 minute with eyes closed, and we think of all the horrors in the world that cross your mind. And the examples are quite specific, like a war, an airplane crash. For instance, we could say like the California fires. We could say God did not create those or that California fire, and so it is not real. Or we have the war in Palestine. God did not create that war in Palestine, and so it is not real. And the personal ones, for instance, God did not create cancer or heart attacks or any disease that may concern you. And we conclude the lesson by saying God did not create a meaningless world. So I'm gonna start the count of the minute. Before we start, we repeat the idea. God did not create a meaningless world. And now we start with our eyes closed to the count from 3 to 1. 3, 2, 1. God did not create, and so it is not real. God did not create, and so it is not real. God did not create, and so it is not real. God did not create, and so it is not real. God did not create a meaningless world. And we finish our minute practice. And the recommendation for today, the same that in previous days, is to remember the lesson. In about half an hour, you can remember the lesson. It was lesson 14. God did not create a meaningless world. And if you remember in half an hour, it is very likely for you to remember it throughout the day. So, and during the day, while you're doing some activities that don't involve your conscious thinking, you can be practicing your idea for today. God did not create a meaningless world. And just before you go to bed, while you're sitting on your bed, you can do your final practice of a minute practice, and you just make the calculation for the minute and apply it with your eyes closed and think of the horrors of the world that come to your mind, and you apply it. God did not create that war, that thing, so it is not real. And at the end of the lesson, as we did here, God did not create a meaningless world. And that is all for today, for lesson 14. Thank you for joining, Gabby, Leti, and Ale. And have a great day, everyone, an inspired day. Thank you for